Two boys stepped into a home with dim lights and white walls that were about to be painted red. This will leave you questioning reality from the beginning. Was this all planned? Or was it all because of this slap? The cruel part is, I found that the movie was just a remake of another, and in both movies, it chilled me out. The characters did not just break the fourth wall, they spoke to you. It's as if they knew you were watching, and they did what they did to taunt you. One thing that always gets to me is how the remake remade everything. Most remakes change a little detail here and there, but not here though. Everything the 1997 edition did to people who watched, the 2007 remake did to those who missed out on watching it on VHS. Let's break down this horror and see why it's so spine-chilling. The film wastes no time toying with expectations. It starts with an unsettling calm, a knock on the door, a polite request for eggs, a trivial, everyday request. But the longer the scene stretches, the more unnatural it feels. The first sign of real disruption comes when a polite young man in white gloves knocks on their door. He introduces himself as Peter, claiming to be a guest from a neighboring house. With an almost exaggerated politeness, he asks Anna for eggs, explaining that their host, Mrs. Thompson, ran out. At first, Anna obliges, handing him 4 eggs. But Peter clumsily drops them. But then Paul, another young man, dressed identically in white gloves, appears, subtly making himself at home. Their behavior remains unnervingly polite, yet there's something off about them. Peter continues to make small mistakes, dropping a phone into the sink and accidentally knocking objects over. Haneke makes full use of spatial tension here. The blocking of this scene is meticulous. Peter slowly encroaches on Anna's space, subtly trapping her within the frame. Meanwhile, Paul's arrival disrupts the balance, making the scene feel uncomfortably crowded. The framing makes it clear that Anna is slowly losing control of the situation, even before she realizes it herself. Anna's discomfort grows, and she finally asks them to leave.
Would you please
The
leave now?
tension at this moment is suffocating. Not because of explicit threats, but because of how long Haneke stretches the scene. The men's refusal to take a hint, their exaggerated politeness, and their complete lack of urgency all build unbearable unease. The brilliance of this scene lies in its pacing. Haneke does not rely on musical cues or fast edits to signal danger. Instead, he lets the actors' performances and the awkward, stretched-out silences do the work. The audience, much like Anna, is left to interpret the situation without obvious signals. The longer the scene drags on, the more unbearable it becomes. This manipulation of time forces the viewer into the same frustrating helplessness as Anna. Just as Anna reaches her breaking point, George enters the scene. He's confused but remains diplomatic, asking the men to leave. Paul then feigns innocence, claiming they've done nothing wrong. But the moment George insists, Paul calmly picks up a golf club and swings it at George's knee. Here, Haneke makes a crucial choice. The impact is never shown. Instead, we see the club raised, then a cut to George's face reacting, followed by his collapse. This deliberate omission forces the audience to imagine the pain, rather than witnessing it. By withholding the expected moment of impact, Haneke denies the audience the kind of stylized violence typically found in thrillers. The sound design is equally disturbing. We hear the sickening thud of the impact, but since we don't see it, our minds fill in the blanks. This technique makes the violence feel more real and more horrifying than if it were graphically depicted. Haneke forces the audience to participate in creating the horror rather than passively consuming it. Additionally, the use of a static camera during this attack is unsettling. There's no frantic cutting or shaky cam to heighten the drama. Instead, the camera remains indifferent, watching with an almost cruel detachment. This lack of visual manipulation makes the violence feel even more disturbing because it refuses to provide relief or catharsis. From this moment onwards, the home invasion film we thought we were watching becomes something else entirely. The family is trapped, and their suffering will be prolonged. Not just for them, but for us as well. One of the most chilling moments arrives when Paul turns to the camera and looks directly at us. Up until this point, we've been passive viewers, observing the horror from a safe distance. But with this single glance, Haneke destroys that distance. Paul acknowledges our presence. More than that, he seems to be playing with us. This is no longer just a film. It is an experiment in audience manipulation. By breaking the fourth wall, Haneke implicates the viewer in the events on screen. We are no longer innocent bystanders. We are participants. This moment highlights one of the film's central themes, the role of violence in media. Haneke challenges the audience by making them aware of their own voyeurism. The film refuses to provide the expected gratification of a traditional thriller. Instead of letting us look away, it forces us to confront our own complicity in consuming violent entertainment. The composition of the fourth wall break is crucial. Paul's direct eye contact is calm, almost amused. He does not act like a character in distress. Instead, he behaves like someone who knows he's in control. This direct engagement with the audience removes any sense of narrative security. It's a reminder that, in Haneke's world, no one is safe, not even the viewer. Ultimately, through sound, cinematography, and pacing, Haneke constructs an experience designed to unsettle and disturb. Every choice, from the extended silences to the off-screen violence, serves to break down the traditional cinematic contract. Funny Games is not just a thriller. It is a challenge to the audience, forcing them to question why they're watching and what they expect from cinematic violence. As the film progresses, Haneke continues to defy audience expectations. Consider the moment when George Jr. escapes. For a brief time, it seems as though he may find help. But when he stumbles upon the neighbor's house, he finds that they've already been murdered. Paul and Peter soon recapture him, dragging him back to the lake house. A traditional thriller would use this moment as an opportunity for a turning point, perhaps a moment where the family finds a way to fight back. But Haneke does not allow that. Instead, he repeats this cycle of hope and despair, emphasizing the futility of resistance. Another unsettling aspect of Funny Games is its use of sound, or lack thereof. Unlike conventional thrillers, which rely on dramatic music to heighten suspense, Haneke often embraces silence. This makes violent moments feel disturbingly real. For example, when George Jr. is shot, there's no sudden, dramatic cue. Instead, the camera lingers on a television set displaying a car race. The sound of the gunshot is distant, almost incidental. Then, red droplets appear on the screen, a horrifying yet detached representation of his death. I'm gonna let you savor this one in 2 scenes like I've been doing. The complete lack of an emotional soundtrack removes any sense of catharsis. In most films, music guides the audience's emotions, telling them when to feel fear, relief, or triumph. But in Funny Games, Haneke refuses to provide such cues, leaving viewers adrift in a sea of discomfort. The most audacious moment in the film comes when Anna finally manages to grab a shotgun and shoot one of the intruders. For a split second, it feels like the family's nightmare might finally end. But then, Paul casually picks up a remote control and rewinds the scene itself. With this single action, Haneke makes his ultimate statement. This is not your movie. He has complete control over the narrative. Any hope the audience had for justice or revenge is erased with the push of a button. This moment forces the audience to confront their own expectations. We wanted Anna to succeed. We wanted to see the villains punished. But in doing so, we became participants in the violence. Haneke does not just deny us catharsis, he makes us feel guilty for wanting it. As Funny Games nears its end, it becomes clear that the nightmare will not stop. After killing George and Anna, Paul and Peter set out on their boat, heading toward another house. The final shot mirrors the film's opening as they arrive at a new location and knock on the door, preparing to start their twisted game all over again. Haneke refuses to offer any resolution. There is no hero, no justice, no redemption. Instead, the film closes on an eerie sense of inevitability. The violence will continue, and there is nothing anyone can do to stop it. Funny Games is not just a movie about violence. It's a movie about us, the viewers, and our relationship with cinematic brutality. By stripping away the typical structures of thrillers, Haneke forces us to confront the uncomfortable truth. We watch movies like this for entertainment, and in doing so, we become complicit. A film that turns the camera on us. What do you think? Does Funny Games deserve the award of the most horrifying movie in the history of cinema? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you love deep dives into legendary sci-fi battles, hit that like button, subscribe, and stay tuned. More breakdowns coming soon. This has been Jack, bringing you another cinematic deep dive. Until next time, stay sharp and look left and right before crossing the road.